room. It's my sister's room. Pay attention when I talk. God, I've already explained that.
Have you?
It's because she. What?
I've never heard this.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is
Well,
new.
you heard it now.
This is new facts that I did not know.
And she has her fucking
I'm sorry
wet
for not
clothes on
paying
the chair.
attention before you speak.
Oh, whatever. And
Wait,
she has
who's
her wet
all-
clothes, so I have to take them off because they're bothering me.
Okay, fair enough. That's
Yeah.
what siblings are for.
Mm-hmm.
Being a pain in the ass.
Amen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fucking my brother.
Eloquently put. Fucking my brother.
Brother.
I almost said his name, but I was like, you don't know him. So, yeah.
Stupid Jimmy.
You still could have told us. You could
Yeah, Mitchell. He's a real son of a bitch.
Mitchell Wood. I know what it's like to be the younger and less talented.
Yeah. Whoa, hey! I didn't say that, Hugh.
He didn't say he was less talented.
Yeah.
You
I didn't
implied
say
it.
that.
Why
You
are you saying
implied it.
that?
Yeah.
Why are you being so mean, Hugh?
That's what I do.
Fuck, Hugh, it's my anniversary.
Well, get some shit on YouTube. Get some soppy ass nonsense on the YouTubes.
I never watched it.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
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 Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, stop.
Mm-hmm. Right,
Please
let's
let
start
this be
doing
the
this
show.
podcast. Let's start doing this podcast. How about
Us
that?
grungy.
Okay, yeah, I forgot
How
about
about we
that.
start doing
Oh!
the podcast? All right.
Diddy games. What are those?
What is today? Today is February 1st. All right. Hello, everybody. It is February 1st, 2018, and you are listening to the Talking Games podcast. I am Bobby Shortle. I'm here with Hugh Perry,
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey Lavati,
Hi.
and Matt Wood.
I'm very talented.
You are, Matt. You are very talented. This is true.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with you at all on that one. You're very talented.
What's to disagree with?
It's true. It's true. I don't know. There's nothing to disagree with. You're amazing.
Keep going.
And attractive.
And attractive.
You have
Oh, this is why I come back every
You have a
week.
very nice shirt.
Oh, you're sweet.
And your mustache freaks me out less and less every week. How about that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It looks good
Oh,
tonight.
Yeah, even Kelsey's.
Kelsey's in on the act, huh?
Mara better watch out.
She watches out plenty.
Who's this Canadian fancy gal?
All right. So we were supposed to have Game of the Year deliberations this week, but we had to push them off. We're going to be doing them all on Sunday instead of breaking that between this week and this recording session and Sunday. So Super Bowl Sunday, we're going to have a nice big recording session where we're going to debate and finally put to bed the games of 2017. But this week we're going to look ahead to the games of 2018. So we're looking forward to doing that. But first, we got to get through some of our usual business here. Matt's making finger guns. It's all going very, very well.
He looks even more like a member of the Village People now.
That's
You do have a little bit of like a construction worker shirt on, so you're kind of getting there. You're getting there.
They entertained a whole generation, so I don't know what the insult is.
It's true. And another generation at roller rinks after.
Yeah, it's apparently fun to stay there.
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, we've got a lot to get through today, and a lot of fun stuff to go through. I gotta look at my show notes to see what we got. Okay, so we're also going to talk a little bit about Battlefront 2. I know I'm guessing, Hugh, that you put this in the document because it seems like a very Hugh story to want to speak about. So we'll speak a little bit about Battlefront 2 and what's going on with that. But first, we should talk about some video games that we've been playing since most of us have put stuff in the doc to talk about. I will not say who didn't put anything in the doc to talk about. Matt, I think that on your screen, whoever it is
I know.
in a different
As soon as I
position.
did it,
Because for me, you're pointing off of the screen entirely. You're just.
It was a joke for myself, I guess.
Yeah, it was a joke for yourself. we're streaming for patrons, so if you can see, if patrons are watching, you can see who I'm pointing at right now. Who didn't put the doc?
Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
I did not
But let's do this. I'm gonna put 3 minutes on the clock and have Hugh. You're gonna go first today, my friend.
Oh, okay.
I'm putting 3 minutes on the clock and go.
So, as with 5 million other people, I am playing Monster Hunter World, and I will start with what annoys me greatly about that video game. First of all, god damn, does that game have some pointlessly obtuse systems. Like, for a game that's supposedly the most welcoming entry in this series, shit, do I not want to play any of the others, because damn. Like, is it just a blank screen and you have to try and build the game yourself? The control system really needs some reworking. I struggle with it. Like, I'm about 10 hours into the game and I still make mistakes which prove to be fatal in the game. And also joining up with your friends. I won't go into details, but the best way to describe it is it's a complete and utter ball ache, and is pointlessly convoluted. But onto the good.
Okay.
It's a
Yes, please.
it's, well, and get that out of the way, and then we can talk about the nice things. But it's a fantastic video game. It's a hell of a lot of fun. The aesthetic is awesome. Like, visually, it's very, very, very pretty. Tons of character. A really good character creator at the start. It's a little bit disappointing when you see your character in the world because they don't quite look the same, but that's nothing unusual in a video game. But yeah, it's good fun. Like, joining up with your friends, hunting monsters down with crazy ass weapons and just going nuts is tons of fun. And I've also put a ton more time into Subnautica, and I'm still really, really enjoying it. It's still, like, once or twice I've kind of got to the point with it where I'm kind of like, I don't feel like anything's happening here anymore. And then all of a sudden I'll find something and I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm back in. And I just keep, like, plowing more time into it. And now Bobby's playing it as well, and I've got someone to talk to it about. I have an enabler. So I made a what is video, which will be out today when this show goes out. Which, check it out if you're interested in it. This sort of so far is all right. It's early days, but this could be one of my surprises of the year. It's just crazy, the sort of the sense of scale in the game, and also, like, the sense of isolation and claustrophobia, because the majority of the time you're underwater is, like, awesome. So yeah, Subnautica. I anticipate I will play many, many more hours of that game.
All right, very, very cool. Yeah, I put some time into it as well. And I'll start my 3 minutes now, so we can just keep talking about it. It's the main thing I've been playing over the last week or week and a half or so. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm not usually a survival game type of guy. I usually get kind of bogged down with a lot of them have a lot of systems, hunger, cold, thirst, there's like a bone, like you have broken bones, you have like the long dark, something that gets very complicated with the amount of systems you're dealing with, body temperature, and very nicely at Subnautica, if you're playing with any of those things on, which one of us on this podcast is, only does thirst and hunger of like those survival things. So it's only two things you have to manage. And as I understand it, it gets easier as the game goes along. There is a lot of upgrades and stuff you can do that kind of start making water and food for you, so you're not have to go out hunting for it. But what I like about it, it has a nice sense of mystery to it. It has I was playing last night, and there's little story beats throughout it that are like, hey, in the form of radio messages, where like, hey, there's a crashed pod over here, and you go to it and you find a blueprint for something. But one of them was like, oh, hey, we're the rescue ship coming to pick you up. Go to this location. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go to that location, and there is something there that I would never have expected to be in this game. Like, I didn't know the game went to a place like that. I don't want to spoil it because I think a lot of what's so cool about the game is that discovery stuff. But it's very, very neat. And like I said, very unexpected. It also looks great. And it's one of the few games that I play with a mouse and keyboard instead of a controller. I started out using a controller on the PC, and I just didn't like it. It was much more too difficult to do like the fine control stuff in that game. So I'm using a mouse and keyboard, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been really great so far. I'm looking forward to playing more. I've only put about 6 hours into it, so I'm looking forward to see what else there is. The other thing I did, Hugh and I played some Sea of Thieves, and there's a video out for that right now over on our YouTube channel, Talking Games Videos. The closed beta just ended, I guess the 31st, so the day we're recording this, I think is the last day of the beta.
Yeah, it's closed now.
It's done now. The game comes out in March. I don't know if they're going to do another test before the game comes out. We had a lot of fun. It was a lot of just pick up a mission, jump on your pirate ship and sail it to an island and dig up some treasure, and you can meet other players along the way who can try to take your boat out and take your stuff. You can get waylaid by skeletons or whatever. It's made by Rare Studios, who huge developer back in the Nintendo days, in the Super Nintendo and N64 days, has done some good stuff since they got bought by Microsoft, but this feels like they're trying to kind of return to form after basically making avatars for the last, I think, like 10 years or something like that. It's fun. I really want to see what else is there other than what we've seen, because if it's just the same sort of cycle of drop off this thing, go find this treasure with maps, or I know there's like riddles and stuff like that. Like, it's cool, but I can't see it being a game that I get really excited about. But I have heard that there are probably things that haven't been showing in the beta, and that there are more in-depth and sort of interesting systems to be found. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. And really quick, a buddy of mine came to visit this past weekend, so we ended up playing some couch multiplayer games. We played Ultimate Chicken Horse and Gang Beasts on the PS4, and that was great fun. Ultimate Chicken Horse is an awesome game. It's basically like competitive Mario Maker. Basically, you have a level, a start and a goal, and you get a toolbox of one thing you can pick up for the beginning of a round, and you're trying to build your way to be able to complete the level. But if everybody finishes the level, nobody gets any points. And if nobody finishes the level, nobody gets any points. So you're trying to build it in a way that sort of plays to your strengths, to try to be able to complete it without the other people being able to complete it. And it's very fun, very back and forth, really, really fun. And I also played a game called Brawl Out on the Switch, which is like a Smash Brothers clone. It's a brawler. It has some characters. It has like the main character from Hyper Light Drifter in it as a playable character, and the lead character from Guacamelee as a playable character. It looks nice. It runs well. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles on it, but it played nicely. The character roster seems like it's only about, I don't know, like 15, 20 characters. So usually in a game like this, I would want a lot more. But I think for $20 on the Switch while you're waiting for actual Smash Brothers to debut, it's not a bad game to take a look at. But that's what I've been doing this past week. Matt.
Hey, Bob.
You've got some new stuff on here and some old stuff.
Hey.
Looking forward to hearing what it's all about. And go.
Okay, I don't have the list in front of me. So, I will start with the old stuff because it's me. I started playing a little bit of Republic Commando, so I got the old Xbox out, and it's still weird to go to like the Xbox main menu, and it's like, oh yeah, no, it's totally January 2018, and you're just like, yeah, that's so sad that you still know that. It's just because you haven't been turned on in so long. But I've been playing Republic Commando, which is not as great as it was in like 2005. So I don't know.
It was very good in 2005, though.
It was very good in 2005. It didn't age well. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those cases of like, I don't know. I just remember it being like, oh, this is just like Halo, right? And it's not at all. It was fun, but I played a little bit of that. I still can't find a freaking Rock Band guitar, which should not be as difficult as it is.
For what system?
PS3. I want to play Beatles Rock Band. I want to play Beatles Rock Band and not just default to singing, because I have the microphone. And don't worry, I'm great. But
prove it.
No. But no, I'm having a very, very difficult time finding one. I found a guitar.
Okay.
I was very excited. I brought it home. Turns out I didn't have the little wireless dongle, so I had to go back. I got the wireless dongle, brought the wireless dongle back. Guitar didn't work. So it's getting to be very frustrating. And I played a new video game that came out on the Switch, and I believe the PlayStation 4 and the...
And I think it's on PC too, but yes. Yeah.
PC, yeah. Celeste.
Yeah.
It is a very impressive little game. It and by little game, it's a little indie kind of developed game. When you turn it on, the developer is Matt Makes Games.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time I turn it on and it says like Matt Makes Games, I'm like, and he plays them too.
Wonderful, Matt. I love you.
I'm so sorry. But no, it's kind of like a retro platformer. Did you play Super Meat Boy?
Yes.
Okay. It's one of those. It's one of those, where you die, you instantly spawn back. It's very, very challenging. So it's kind of a amped up platformer. I haven't gotten too deep into it, so I don't, I can't tell you like too much of where the story is going. But you play as this character. I think her name's like Madeline. I think that's right. Yes, Madeline. And it's a platformer, so it doesn't necessarily need to have like a super deep story. But Madeline deals with like anxiety and depression and like panic attacks and all these things. And the way she speaks about them, it's like it's very real. And if you've ever had like a panic attack or dealt with depression and you read these things, you're just kind of like, oh God, like I'm sympathizing like with this pixel. And I don't know. It's kind of one of these like unnecessary things. It's a platform, right? It doesn't need to have that big of a plot. It doesn't need to have that level of depth. But it handles it pretty well from what I've seen. Like nothing has been too overboard. It touches on it. It's about like facing like fears and accepting your fears and things like that. So it's pretty interesting. I'm not a fan of the graphics. It's kind of like pixel retro style. Sometimes I think it looks real good, like with like Shovel Knight. Other times like this, it's like, like pixel, like 8-bit games didn't look like that. It's like, it's one of these cases of like,
You're being a snob.
I'm being a little bit of a snob just because it's like, it's one of these cases. I don't know. It's, if that came out like on the NES and looked like that, like if it came out on the NES and played like it, that'd be amazing. But like if it looked like that, it would look weird. And it just, I don't know. I would have preferred probably like an animated style. I think it would have been more effective. But like the pixel style is kind of bizarre, especially given like the subject matter where you feel like, I don't know, maybe like a little bit of depth with the characters, like animating the characters' features and stuff. They might have been able to convey more, where it's more or less just text. But I don't know. I mean, it's a small developer. It's probably like 4 people that were involved, so I can't like judge them too much. But no, it is an insanely addictive video game. Like it's a lot of fun, and And yeah, you might learn something too.
Yeah, I've seen some gameplay videos of it, and it seems pretty crazy at times.
Yeah.
I saw one on Reddit the other day that was like insane. I think it was one of the B-side levels, which unlock after
Yeah.
you beat the levels, but it was like they had to basically stay in the air for the entire level in order to get through it.
Yeah, yeah. So there's things like you have like this like kind of like jump meter where you can like kind of do air jumps, but you know, you can't do it too often unless you like hit like a little icon. And you know, when you pull it off, you feel like just a tremendous badass that's playing a video game. But you know, it's very difficult, but I feel like it's also rewarding. Like it's one of those cases of just, and this is one thing that captures that 8-bit kind of style. When you actually accomplish something, you feel like I did that. Like it feels like, you know, it's one of those things of like, you know, once you've done it once, you can then do it like 1,000 times, but it took you, you know, hundreds of times to try it in the first place. So that part's always, you know, that's good stuff. And the music's exceptional. Like the music is really, really good. So I think overall, like a $20 package, it's definitely worth buying. Especially like with the Switch kind of becoming the platform for that type of game.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to playing it. I really liked Towerfall, which was this developer's previous game, right? So I'm interested in playing it. It's interesting that it's a single player thing and it's not another multiplayer thing, which you would have thought they probably would have gone back to that well again, right? But it's very cool that they didn't, and I'm looking forward to checking this out, even though I know it will drive me fucking crazy. Did you play Cloudberry Kingdom? It was on the Wii U. It was on everything last generation, but it was like this insane platformer that was just one of those. It was built to basically drive you crazy if you couldn't get it. You couldn't get it, and that's what I feel like this game is also sort of going.
Yeah. I was reading a little bit about the development, and it was mostly developed like over like a game jam, you know, where a bunch of developers got together and you know, kind of create something quickly. And the main developer, the guy that worked on Towerfall, Matt Thorson, I don't know. He said it was more influenced by like Super Mario Maker levels that he created and things like that. Now, I find that's kind of interesting that we're kind of seeing you know, a couple of years away from Super Mario Maker, like maybe a little bit more of a resurgence with the platformer.
Yeah.
Just because it was such an excellent tool.
Yeah, that's really neat.
That
that's
needs to be out on the
neat.
Switch immediately.
All right. So, Kelsey, do you have anything that you wanted to talk about? I know you didn't put anything on the list, but do you have anything you wanted to talk about?
I didn't put anything on the list because I forgot. But I have games.
All right. Okay, that's fine. So I'm gonna start your timer right now.
All right. So moving into 2018, I've only been playing 2017 games because I'm trying to catch up and provide some hard-hitting journalism for the game of the year. So I've been playing Zelda, trying to get a little far, and I'm coming to accept that there are certain parts of the game that you just can't go if you're a certain level. I was in denial for a long time because I like climbing and like cutting over everything, but it doesn't work that way. And I just learned that you can go to multiple shrines and that way you get more hearts. So I've come so far with 3 hearts and now I'm starting to accept that I need more. And then I've also been playing Night in the Woods. I'm trying to finish it. And I'm still really enjoying it. I love like the mini games that they integrated in the game right now. I just played for about like half an hour before. And there was a mini game where you had to try to steal something from the store. And the clerk is like kind of watching you. And then your other friend B goes in to do it. And like the main character of the story, she really does speak like me. Like Justin and Bobby told me this, but every time I hear her speak, she sounds exactly like me. She's telling the clerk like, oh, you're just a cog in the machine. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's something so stupid, I would say. And so I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I know there's going to be something that happens in the story that's going to make me cry. So I'm excited to finish it. And then also I went to an arcade last Saturday. No, the weekend before. And I played Mario Kart Arcade for an hour.
Nice. It's good fun.
Because I don't know if you guys know, I don't know if you're aware, but I'm extremely competitive. And my boyfriend thought it would be a great date to go play video games at the arcade. And once I started kicking his ass, I couldn't stop. And he also is very competitive, but I kept winning. So who's the better gamer? Me.
Never been more proud of you, Kelsey.
And I also played, it was a Star Wars game, but you're on the Rebel Alliance.
That narrows it down.
Rebel Alliance?
Was that the arcade?
No. You were in you were in an X-wing. What was it called?
Was it the arcade? Was that the arcade?
Yeah.
Battle Pod?
Battle Pod?
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah, the Battle Pod. Yeah.
I played that.
Yeah, that thing's
Yeah,
cool.
that was really
fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I also played Dance Dance
great.
Revolution. Because I haven't played Dance Dance Revolution, I think, since I was in high school, and I used to play it at the movies. And then I saw it there, and I was like, oh, nice. Dance Dance Revolution. And I sucked. And the worst part is like, people are watching you, like, they're standing behind, and they're watching you, like, pick a song, and then you have to, like, jump. And they're watching you jump. Oh, my God. It wasn't as fun as I remember, that's for sure, because my hips were hurting. And that's it.
Brilliant.
Well, that's awesome. So you did have some stuff that you played. That Battle Pod game is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It really did remind, because I never played it before, but it really reminded me of the levels that they have in Battlefront.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really, really reminded me of the beginning scenes with in Battlefront 2, where you have to just take down the rebels,
Mm-hmm.
except it was the opposite.
Right.
And it really, really reminded me of that. It was cool. It was nice. At least I knew how to play it. Like, I was really worried that I was gonna suck, and then, like, my boyfriend, who thinks I love Star Wars so much, was just gonna see me fail. But I ended up doing okay.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Well, I mean, we're talking about Star Wars already. Hugh, do you want to talk about some Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Yeah, so basically some news came out this week. Unsurprisingly, Star Wars Battlefront 2 fell short of EA's modeled expectations for sales. So they modeled for 10 million shipments in its first quarter, and they only shipped 9 million copies. So that's, a chunk of copies short. And the GameSpot article that I'm reading, they were speaking to Blake Jorgensen, who's EA's CFO, who confirmed those figures, and he says the Battlefront 2 will reintroduce microtransactions, and they quote, in the next few months. He says
Just what they need to win back all the hearts and minds.
Yeah. And the article says, whatever the case, EA says it believes microtransactions as a means to enhance the experience in our games. However, the company cautioned that EA needs to do it the right way and avoid another Battlefront 2 type situation. And then there's another quote from Blake Jorgensen saying, going forward, we believe that live services that include optional digital monetization, when done right, provide a very important element of choice that can extend and enhance the experience in our games. And when I read that, I just laughed to myself. I was like, well, you were trying to make your game pay to win at first, so there's a bit of a backtrack.
That definitely sounds just like corporate gobbledygook speak.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of words that don't mean anything.
Yeah,
we have to say something.
Yeah.
Jargon, floggen, bargain, dargan. And he says, we're committed to continually working with our players to deliver the right experience in each of our games and live services. I'm surprised he doesn't use like buzz terms like touch base and stuff like that. So the article basically goes on to say that, excuse me, in spite of Battlefront 2 falling short of sales expectations, it has actually, in terms of playtime, the people who are playing the game have logged twice as much playtime as Battlefront 1. So it's, bad news sales-wise, but in terms of keeping people playing the game, I suppose it's good for it. But I just found that like an interesting article that in the wake of them, like a website saying, you've fallen short of sales on this game, they decide to go, yeah, well, that thing that like made loads of people cancel their pre-orders for this game, we're bringing it back. And I was just kind of like, yeah, that would be bad timing, I think they need to shut their mouths about microtransactions in Battlefront 2 until they can let us know what the hell they're planning. So yeah, I just thought that was quite an interesting thing. But
do you think at this point they're just trying to get any money they can get out of it?
Most likely. I mean,
they have an established core, right? They have people that are playing it, so yeah.
But yeah, they're
definitely getting numbers from somewhere. Like they have to have like a financial basis to make such rash decisions. And so I feel like they need to have some sort of proof that by integrating this again, it'll bring in profit.
Yeah.
Like they have to be seeing these numbers somewhere. That like it has to come from somewhere. It's impossible that they would propose this idea in their office and not have some sort of chart that would show an inclination in like sales. It has to happen. So there has to be people like putting in a shit ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely. I mean, I think that they probably think at this point they've gotten the sales they're going to get at $60. Yeah. And so at this point, what is the harm in them other than they already had shitty public perception. They already tried to fix it. It didn't work for them, obviously, to hit their sales target, which makes you also think, what was their sales target? It must have been astronomical, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure they were thinking it was going to sell more than the original. I don't know what it ended up doing in comparison to the original as far as sales go.
Well, the launch quarter sales for the original game were 13 million. And EA had modeled for 10 million shipments for Battlefront 2 during its first quarter. Okay. I guess in terms of like the way the market is right now, that kind of makes sense because I don't think people are buying as many video games right now. But still, that's quite a lot. And they said they're projecting to sell another 3 million copies during the EA's current fiscal year, boosting its total to potentially as many as 12 million units, but that's still 2 million down.
And those units are going to be sold at a discount, right? I mean, it already is like, what, $30, $40?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's just they just got off to a bad start, and EA is in such under fire from like every direction right now as far as the video game industry goes. No matter what they seem to do, they seem to be making the wrong moves. We weren't going to talk about Say 2 in depth, but they delayed Anthem till 2019. Definitely now they announced, like, I think they said spring 2019 is like the official time frame, which I still expect that to move.
This fiscal.
Yeah, like March of 2019, which is end of fiscal 2018. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I still expect that game to slip. That game feels like a holiday 2019 game to me, if that's the case. But I think that, and they talked about how if you read the Kotaku article, they're like moving all of these development resources into it, and it's like some sort of crazy last bet for BioWare.
It's because, like you said, it's a last bet. Like, they can't fuck up their next game because, like, people are ready to attack them. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Like, no matter what they do, like, I'm sure they're really worried about, like, public backfire because it's countless times that people have said even that they're fed up with them as a company. And anything that they put out next, because they did have kind of a rough year, so, like, anything that they put out next has to be not perfect, but, like, they really have to not fuck it up, to get, like, such a backlash that they might not have gotten if they did, like, receive it this past year. But they're making up for a lot more with a new game. than they would if they hadn't fucked up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other thing that came out today, I think it's kind of a little bit of speculation, especially seeing as how what they're basing it on hasn't been announced, which to me at this point in time seems odd. I read today that it's basically another part of why they moved Anthem back is because it was in the same release window as the unannounced Battlefield game, which is supposedly coming out this year. Which to me sounds odd that it hasn't been announced yet, if it's going to be out this year, because they don't want, after sort of like the lukewarm reception that Mass Effect Andromeda got, they don't want anything to sort of come out around the same time as Anthem that could overshadow it. So there's also like that as well. But until this supposed Battlefield game that's coming out this year gets announced, I don't think anyone can say with any for sure that is another contributory factor on that. So
yeah, I also just don't think that it doesn't they're not the same game. They're the same type of game. So to say like, oh, we don't want two big games coming out in the same window doesn't make any sense to me. I don't feel like,
and it's nothing EA haven't done before. They release big games in close proximity to each other all the time.
Yes, and something that's been bad, like they released Titanfall and Battlefield right next to each other, and that's really screwed Titanfall over. But those are because they're the two first-person shooters, and there was Call of Duty, then Titanfall, then Battlefield in 3 successive weeks. I think that with Anthem, I don't think that you're really pulling from exactly the same pool. If you're looking at that, just like I don't think if you released Destiny and Battlefield in the same like window, they would necessarily kill each other's sales in any type of major way. I think that they're different games. One will most likely be a loot-based third-person action RPG in Anthem, and one will be a first-person linear shooter that will be mostly focused on multiplayer and have a 6-hour campaign. So there's a big difference between those two games. One sci-fi, heavily sci-fi, the other one heavily realistic. So there's a lot of differences there, I think. But it's been a bad time for EA. The only thing they got really is their sports stuff right now to hang their hat on and say, hey, everybody still likes the sports stuff we're doing, except for basketball, which is no one's liked in a long time. But at least we put it out this year, and not everyone hated it.
Wait, well, do they make the basketball?
They make NBA 2K? Elite. Well, it's NBA Live again now. It's NBA Live again.
Right. Okay, all right.
NBA Live noted for the fact that a couple of years ago, they had a game, they rebranded NBA Elite. They sent out copies to reviewers, and I think they sent out copies to retailers, and then pulled the game before it was supposed to come out. And so it never came out. Like, the game never came out. And it was done. It was already, like, ready, pressed and ready to go to stores. It's a pretty crazy thing. But anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens with Battlefront 2. But let's talk about the 2018 in gaming. We've already started it. We're in the midst of it at the moment. We talked about Subnautica, and we also talked about Monster Hunter World, which Monster Hunter World came out on the 26th, along with Dragon Ball FighterZ. That's what I was supposed to say it. Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is the lamest way you could possibly say that. It should be Fighter Z. It should be Fighter Z.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to the third version of that, where they replace the E in Fighter with a 3.
Okay.
That would make that'll be a really nice logo. That will.
That's getting very, very good. Very good reviews as well. Everything that's come out so far in January has been doing pretty well. Subnautica, Celeste, which Matt talked about. I guess Kirby PUBG came out earlier this year, earlier this month. The Kirby Battle Royale came out for the 3DS.
Is that the one that's like? There's one that's like free to play. It's not that one, right?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I don't follow Kirby too much.
I hope Fortnite don't get wind of that, and they might sue them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also came out a game interesting called Iconoclasts, which is a like a Metroidvania style game. It's out for PS4, Mac, Windows, and Vita. Actually, it looks pretty cool. It's got a pixel art, like 16-bit pixel art style going on. It looks neat. Lost Sphere came out, which is from Tokyo RPG Factory. It's kind of mimicking like a Chrono Trigger-ish type of dealio. I haven't heard great things about it. I've heard middling things about it, but that's what come out already. The Inpatient, which is a sequel to or a prequel to Until Dawn, but it's only on PSVR. Is that already out?
Yeah, my friend Richard has been playing that, and he says it's the only PSVR game that's ever made him feel sick. So apparently there's really bad problems with it, like making people nauseous.
All right.
For that.
Good to know. Good to know. So into January is pretty heavy. February is not so much very heavy. It's what we would probably call a light month.
Yes.
Things that I'm going to say some stuff that I think is exciting, and if anybody else has anything else, please bring it up. Shadow of the Colossus is coming out. It's a full remake of that game. New graphics.
It looks really good.
It does look really
good.
It
looks beautiful.
It's really, really good. That's an amazing game. I love Shadow of the Colossus.
I've never played Shadow of the Colossus.
It's
such a good
terrific
game.
So this might be my time to play Shadow
Have you played
of the
it,
Colossus.
Kelsey?
Yeah, I played it when it had come out. It was like 2013, no? Or like...
Yeah, around there.
It was released on the PS3.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I've always heard wonderful things about it, but never played it, and so I think this is going to be my time to play that game.
What's the music? Oh my god!
I think the word classic is deservedly used in conjunction with that game.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah.
Good game.
So let's see what else we got here. Interestingly enough, one of I feel like the very, very early access games on Steam, Rust, is getting like a 1.0 release. They've also said it's coming at some point to consoles as well, so that should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I affectionately or disaffectionately call rock and stick game. It's that's the reason. Those kind of games are the reasons why I was like, when you told me you were playing Subnautica, Hugh, I was like, oh, I don't know, because like I get very like worried about those games where you have to manage a bunch of survival systems.
Rust, I have no interest in playing at all.
Dragon Quest Builders comes to Nintendo Switch, which I didn't play it when it was on the other consoles. It's like a Dragon Quest Minecraft type of thing. Owl Boy, which was out on PC last year, which is a very interesting looking
on the current Humble Bundle.
Yes, it's in the Humble Bundle, yeah. But it's out for Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One in February. Matt made a very like disgruntled face.
No, I've seen it. I got nothing. I got nothing. Let's not make this a thing. I'm sure Owl Boy's terrific.
Okay.
I don't know why. All right, the Secret of Mana remake, Matt. How are you feeling about that?
I think that's fine. It's I've never been the person that's beat the drum for Secret of Mana, but it's an interesting concept, a pretty early multiplayer RPG that and the remake looks good. I like the art style. It invokes because that game was coming out around Final Fantasy 3 and Chrono Trigger and all those darker kind of. I mean, I'm not saying Chrono Trigger is like really dark, but it had a very kind of bleaker style, whereas Secret of Mana was always like the bright and colorful one. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, sure, why not?
I'm hoping that they refine the in-game menus, because in the original Secret of Mana, boy, were they bad. They were bad.
All right, laying down that smackdown on the menu system in Secret of Mana.
Boom.
Hardcore journalism we've got going on.
Yep.
February 16th, we've got Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 coming to Nintendo Switch. Two-pack. You excited, Kelsey?
Yes. I'm so excited.
They're both very excellent games and very cool that they're coming to the Nintendo Switch, especially since they announced Bayonetta 3 at the Game Awards. So it's good that they're getting out there.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
I'm so
boy.
excited.
I think, guys, should we leave and let Kelsey have a private moment
Yeah.
with Bayonetta? Uh, FE is also coming out, which was announced 2 E3s ago. It's EA. It's like from the same program where they released that Yarn Man game. It's not the same developers, but it's like the same. It's like the same.
Oh, shit. What was that game called?
Yarny.
Wasn't
his
it
name
wasn't called
Yarny?
Yarny.
His name was Yarny.
Unbound.
No, Unraveled.
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 There you go.
There you go. With
So
Yarny.
that sort of that kind of like art game, indie game initiative that EA was doing. This is part of that. And another one of those games is actually coming out this year, which we'll get to in a little bit. Metal Gear Survive is on February 20th. I put a little bit of that beta. It seemed fine for being the kind of game it was, but it's just not what I'm looking for in a Metal Gear game. So I'm good on that one.
Those days are over.
Those days are over, but they're going to be new days when Death Stranding comes out. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. In the world of like crazy, I can't believe this is an actual entry. De Blob 2 is getting a remaster on PS4 and Xbox One. De Blob was was a Wii, right? Original Wii?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a cool game.
And I think De Blob 2 though was on everything, right? It was on Xbox 360 and PS3, I think.
Because they had to make money.
Yeah, exactly. But De Blob was cool. It was a cool. The first one was a cool Wii exclusive, and it's a neat game.
Also, there's that Past Cure, which looks kind of cool.
What is
looks
that?
kind of like a survival horror type thing.
Oh, okay.
It looks quite interesting.
All right. It doesn't have. I just went to their Wikipedia page, and there's nothing on it. So
Yeah, I think you've got to go on their website for information about it. Phantoms. It's from Phantom H Studio.
Final Fantasy 15 is coming to Windows. If people are excited about that. Scribblenauts Showdown. Is that a new Scribblenauts game?
Yeah. Apparently it's like kind of like almost like a PvP type thing in it.
Announced in January 2018, Scribblenauts Showdown is a party game for up to 4 players using mini games based on the Scribblenauts formula. The game is
Can I write dirty words yet?
Being developed by Shiver Entertainment and published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment for release on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Expected release date March 6, 2018. That's interesting.
Quickly on going back to Past Cure. Past Cure is a cinematic, story-driven experience where the player follows the struggle of a broken man searching for the missing pieces of his mind. With intense cutscenes and intriguing story items throughout the levels, the players can unravel a story that will keep them guessing to the end. And it says the main character Ian's mind is torn between the gritty real world and the nightmarish horror of his dreams. Past Cure contrasts between the cold, brutal combat-orientated levels of the real world to the more puzzle-solving and survival gameplay in the abstract dream worlds. It says action versus stealth. Be bold and engage your enemies with time-bending gun battles and brutal jaw-crunching combos, or pick the stealthy approach where evasion tactics and slick stealth takedowns allow you to outsmart your enemies in silence. Choose the right path in each situation, as there are pros and cons to each playing style. So yeah, it sounds like it might be a bit interesting. There's trailers and stuff on the website, which I recommend people check out if you're into sort of survival horror, sort of Evil Within type stuff.
Cool.
So,
yeah. All right, very nice. Let's see what else we've got here. Kirby Star Allies on March 16th for Nintendo Switch. That's the new Kirby game. So, is anyone excited about that game? Kelsey seems to be at least a little excited.
I might check it out. I'll wait and see what the deal is with it before I decide whether to take the plunge.
It'll be a Kirby game.
Well, yeah.
It looks so cute.
It says that in the title.
That's a Kirby game.
Why you guys are just running right over Kelsey? She's trying to talk about the game.
Kirby is the green.
I'm trying to explain how cute it is.
Go ahead.
And you're just fucking interrupting.
Go ahead.
It's cute? Did you see
Zelda.
Did you see the little gif of them snuggling? Did you see it?
GIF, Kelsey.
No.
Kirby do that.
Yeah, but it's cute.
And
He
it's
has a
GIF.
mechanic
All
where
right,
he
it's
kisses
GIF.
his
Don't start this war. Talking
I'm
Games
leaving.
official
I'm leaving.
Talking Games official position is that it's GIF.
No.
Okay.
No, they're lying. They're lying to you.
It's graphical interface file.
I don't care if the creator of it says it's a GIF. It's a GIF. Okay.
I didn't even know that.
He's right.
Fuck you. He's right.
The creator is wrong.
That's right.
If you put a T on the end of the word, at the end of GIF, what would you call it? You call it a GIF.
A GIF.
A GIF. Yeah. Okay. Here's your Christmas
That's how
gifts.
it's in Canada, okay?
Yeah, I'm sure it's Canadian.
No, that can't be your excuse.
Anyway, new Kirby game. All right. Sea of Thieves on March 20th.
Yarr!
So definitely gonna check that out.
Also, Attack on Titan 2, which I'm kind of tempted by. It looks kind of cool. I
That
played
first
the
game
first
was
game, and
kinda
it was
crazy.
surprisingly decent.
Yeah.
So,
Valkyria Chronicles 4 on the 21st. I didn't know. I knew that there was the one on the PS3. I didn't know that there had been even other Valkyria Chronicle games.
meh.
That game was cool on the PS3 though. That tactical role-playing game. So that's neat. There's another one coming out. A Way Out, which I am very excited to play, which is that co-op prison escape game from that very outspoken game creator. That you play the whole thing co-op. You can play. It seems like you can play the whole thing co-op online with only one person having the game. Was that the deal that somebody?
Yeah,
talked
you
about?
get a
Yeah.
code with it, so your friend can download it as well.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
pretty neat. That's a pretty neat thing to do, considering that the game kind of needs to be played co-op. The fact that they provide you with a second code is pretty neat and pretty novel. I think I wouldn't expect something like that to happen. But the game looks really, really cool. But 23rd is a pretty busy day. A Way Out. Detective Pikachu makes its way to the United States.
Kelsey's going to be all over that.
Kelsey
Go on,
is very
speak to us about
excited.
Detective Pikachu.
I'm just excited because it's Pikachu.
That's fair enough.
It looks good.
It looks good.
Official.
It is
official box
weird because the it's advertised for 3DS, and on the box it says doesn't have 3D. Like it literally like it doesn't say that, but it says something like no 3D in this one. So it's like Nintendo's like we're not fucking doing that.
There was
anymore.
another game that came out from Nintendo that didn't have any 3D in it.
Fire Emblem, whatever the one was, the remake of the Super Nintendo one that I played.
Echoes something?
Sure.
We went over this like 2 shows ago. I can't do this again.
Yeah.
Also on the 23rd, Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom is coming out. Did any of you guys finish that first game? Any of you
I
guys?
It was
didn't.
very long.
Yes.
I didn't finish it, but I liked it.
Yes.
Like I kind of want to give this one a try.
It had a Welsh character that was shaped like a nose.
Mr.
What was-
Droopy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That character was awesome. I probably played like
And-
10 or 15 hours of it, but the problem was it was long, and also the combat system was sort of simplistic, so I got a little like bored with the combat system. I remember. It was a long
Was
time
not
ago.
to your standards, huh?
No, it was not to my standards. I have higher standards than you do.
God.
Also one of the nicest looking games that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Yes.
It looks incredible.
This
Yeah.
one doesn't have the direct involvement of Studio Ghibli like the first one did,
Oh.
but it has the same art style to it. So the 27th, we've got Far Cry 5 and MLB The Show 18 coming out. Far Cry 5, I think, is going to be one of those like very contentious games, considering what they've shown so far.
Is that the one that takes place in like the Midwest or whatever?
It's in like Montana, I think.
Okay.
I don't. Would Montana
Yeah,
be
I think
considered
the subject
the
matter of
Midwest?
that game's
I guess it would be, right? Montana would be the Midwest, I guess.
Oh,
right?
yeah, sure.
If you're from Montana, let us know, because I don't know.
Yeah.
It's more
Yeah.
like the north middle. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it seems like it's going to bring up or use certain tensions and problems that are happening in America, but not really have anything to say about them. Just use them as sort of like fodder. To be fair, that's what they've always done with situations in other countries. So I can't really fault them so much for that. But it's still, I think it's going to be there's going to be a lot of discussion around Far Cry 5.
We're going to hear some shit.
Yeah. And that's it for March as far as the big stuff goes. And then after that, it's we really have a little bit in April, May, and June to talk about. Pillars of Eternity 2 comes out in April. God of War and Nintendo Labo come out on 4/20. So
oh man,
blaze it up and then kill some Norse gods.
I'm going to build me a robot, man.
Hopefully, Kratos imbibes and fucking cheers up.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm
Odin.
real curious about
cool.
that game.
It's cool. I'm very curious about it. Yes, I'm very curious about it. I want to see. First of all, I know a lot of people are excited because they're like, "Oh, this God of War is 28 hours long or 30 hours long." A lot of people are excited about that fact. That makes me very sad because I don't need another 30-hour game in my life. I would carry it. I would have loved just another 8 to 12 hour long God of War game. That would have been wonderful in my book. But yes,
I don't like that. Like I enjoy that world, but I don't want to be in it for that amount of time. And as I alluded to, Kratos isn't exactly the most enjoyable of main characters in a game.
But I don't know. I'm so willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. They've been advertising this as just a very different thing.
Yeah,
I'm so curious.
Absolutely.
It looks like they're
is,
taking a chance. Yeah, I'm with you. If it is the same old, that will fucking suck.
Yeah.
They've been very, very forceful about it not being the same old though. So I think that's the only reason I'm really even interested in it is because they've said it's going to be so different, and what they've shown seems very different. So I'm willing to at least take a look at it and see what it is. Nintendo Labo is going to be crazy. We talked about that already. We got the Wii U, the Switch port of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze coming out on May 4th. We also have the Dark Souls remastered coming to Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and Steam and PS4 as well. So 2 games on previous consoles or systems that are now coming to the Switch. And there's
Donkey Kong.
Do you like that Donkey Kong game, Matt?
No, the game's good. The game is really good. I'm a little. I want new games, on the Switch, but
you weren't excited about the Kirby game, Matt.
Fucking. You're right. I'm very sorry.
You can't have everything you want. All right.
At least they're giving me Funky Kong.
It's true. Playable.
He's the funky one. Yeah,
Confirmed.
playable. He pulls out a surfboard or some shit. I don't know.
Synonymous with funky.
I do really want to see how Dark Souls runs on the Nintendo Switch. Just academically very curious about how it's going to go. So I am interested in that. And then everything else, there's a lot of other stuff, obviously, but nothing that really has concrete release dates yet. I know everyone's very excited about Red Dead. Supposed to be coming this year. I'm very much looking forward to State of Decay 2.
Me too.
Because the stuff they've shown for the multiplayer and stuff in that game seems like it'll be a ton of fun to play with friends and also probably stream some. So, and that's included in that there Microsoft Game Pass. So I'll be able to try it out for very little money. And what else am I excited for? Oh, Spider-Man. I'm guessing, Hugh, that you're probably pretty excited about that.
Hell yeah. Rumor is that will be out towards the end of September. Apparently a retailer who has a habit of leaking release dates early and is fairly reliable posted it as being the 28th of September. So fingers crossed that's right, because I can get it for my birthday. Yay. Also, I'm looking forward to Days Gone whenever that hits. I'll be surprised if it does come this year, but that game does look quite interesting. If it pulls off what they're trying to do, it could be something pretty cool.
Is that zombie game from Sony?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With sort of like the dynamic world where like the weather impacts it, and how you there's multiple ways to go about sort of your missions, and the missions don't always play out the same way twice. Because they showed a video where there was like one occasion where this guy was on a mission and he was driving to wherever he needed to go, and there was like a trap laid across the road, so his motorbike hit the trap and caused him to crash. And they were like, oh, okay. So they sort of went back and they were like, you could play it again at a different time of day and drive up this road and there wouldn't be a trap there. So there's kind of like, you know, a cool bit of variation there. And if that does happen and it does work, I think it'll be a fun like game to sort of compare your experiences of that world with other people's, and just how much variety there is to that sort of supposedly, I guess, random-ish edge to it. So it does look cool.
That's very cool. Yeah. It just, for me, it's like, it's a game where you kill a lot of zombies. So I don't like my excitement level sort of like dips a little bit.
And you're a guy on a bike.
Just... but I'm willing to be surprised by it. So I think that's a couple of our listeners here. At Bad Knee Groon says excited for Red Dead 2, God of War, and Spider-Man. Michael Zedro says God of War, Detroit Become Human, Red Dead 2, MLB The Show, and Ori, because there's supposed to be an Ori in the Blind Forest sequel coming out this year as well. We didn't say that it was on the list of games without dates, but I'm sure about halfway through the year, post D3, we'll go do another one of these shows where we run down all the other stuff that's been announced. Ori
will be an exclusive, right? The first one was.
It was. They did put out a Steam version of it, but I don't know.
Okay.
It should just be an Xbox game. Yeah, I would assume.
Okay.
And at Manny_1710 says Anthem, but pretty sure it's been pushed back to the beginning of 2019 now. And it has, Manny.
Yep,
it has.
You are correct. I'll be amazed if Red Dead gets released this year. Like Rockstar are terrible at hitting their, not that they've given a release date, but like, you know, they don't do not delaying, basically.
That's very true.
And they can totally put it out whenever they fucking want.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, it's like Rockstar, you put your games out whenever the hell you want, as long as they're in keeping with your usual quality. That's all I need.
Yep.
Also, there's a freaking Toe Jam and Earl game out this year.
Oh shit!
I'm up for that.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Is it going to be like real Toe Jam and Earl, or like that bullshit they put on the Xbox?
I guess. Let's see if there's a website for it.
I mean, it's the original creator. I know that.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah, this is the one that was kickstarted, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's actually happening. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty neat.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Toe Jam and Earl.
Yeah, I don't have.
Back in the groove.
I don't have a ton of nostalgia for Toe Jam and Earl. I don't think I played it when I was a kid, but I know that it introduced a lot of interesting concepts that weren't really around yet.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. It was very different because, you know, it's not a game that, you know, back in those days, you know, everything was like leveled or whatever. And this one was more about like just exploring different layers. And it was fast. Yeah. It's a cool game. And it's funky.
Very funky.
Very funky.
Just another word out there. We're still looking for contributors, both people who may want to do video, and also we're looking for a new member of the podcast. So if you're interested, please email us, games@talkingcomicbooks.com. Let us know why you want to be a part of the team. And I didn't ask this the first time, but do me a favor, link to your like social profiles and stuff like that, so we can see what you're all about, because there is a certain type of person we're looking for to be part of the podcast. So we want to be able to look at that stuff. And if you've done videos or done podcasts before, please link to them, because, you know, that anything you can do to show us that you are, you know, you have some experience and you're comfortable on the mic. It's not the only requirement, obviously, because I've asked a lot of people to do podcasts who've never done podcasts before, and they've done great. So that's not really an issue. But
I'm still on the podcast. So
yeah, well, that's just because we like you in real life, you.
Oh.
We've already got a guy with a mustache.
It's true. No mustache. No men with mustaches. That's just.
So
you can't take Matt's brand And if you have if you have a mustache and you only play old games, you also doubly cannot be part of the show.
Stay in your fucking lane.
Kelsey takes up the youth quota.
No, please be under 25. That's my only request.
Under 25?
Please. I want to be older.
Please be in nappies.
Yeah.
Or diapers, whichever you call them.
Okay. So yeah, games at talkingcomicbooks.com. That's where you need to send it. Don't tweet at us about that, because it's better if we just have it all in an email, because that way I can keep track of it and won't lose your application. But do follow us on Twitter at talking_games and tweet at us if you have any comments about the show. And as the same token, head over to iTunes and please review the show. It really means a lot when people are trying to search for the show in iTunes. It's one of the biggest things that pushes the show up in search rankings. So if you haven't reviewed us or rated us yet, please do that. It takes a couple of seconds, and we really, really appreciate it. You can head over to youtube.com/talkinggamesvideos. We have a couple of videos going up this week already. We had our What is Sea of Thieves. We've got a What is Subnautica heading up here to talk about in the show. It's going to be there. And we did our first PUBG happy hour on Friday, which ended spectacularly.
Man, that was like one of the, like, between me and you, Bobby, we've got like probably pushing 400 hours in that game between us, and that was probably the goofiest shit I've ever seen. Absolutely.
The stream was really goofy at times too, because we had about like 17 separate types of technical problems along the way. And there's some audio issues all throughout it, but I think we learned, and so next time around it's going to be much better. So look out for that. Twitch.tv/talkinggames is our Twitch channel. And we are a Humble partner. So if you're interested in check out the Humble bundle, either in the bundles that they've got going, or the Humble monthly bundle, which Hugh and I can both attest is really, really great value for what you get. If you have a PC,
really is,
and you play PC games, it's really awesome. You usually get at least something like current, and then a bunch of semi-current to just like last couple of years games in every one. It's like $12 a month, I think it is American. It's really good, and we don't get paid by Humble. It's only if you go and get the Humble bundle, we get a little bit of like the amount of money, and you get to choose how much of your purchase goes towards us, how much it goes towards charity. It's a really good thing to do. You get cool games, you get to give to charity. It's a really neat idea. There's links to that in the show notes over on talkingcomicbooks.com. So check that out if you get the chance. But I think that's all the business we have to go through for today. We are going to be recording Game of the Year this Sunday. That will be live for patrons, and then it will come out most likely on the normal show day. So next Thursday, you'll have your Game of the Year 2017 show. It will be long. It will be very, very long.
Battle commence!
But
I'm so goddamn excited.
Yeah. Matt's like, can I nominate Zelda for every single one of the top 10 positions? 10 through 1. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
It has mini games, so why the fuck not?
Shrine number 65.
You can
Game of the Year
golf.
number 8.
You can golf in Zelda with big boulders.
Got plenty of time to talk about Zelda later. Let's do our personal Twitters. I'm at Bobby Shortle. Hugh.
I am at H_Paz.
Kelsey.
Kelsey, LSSAMUS.
Matt.
I am at Johnny Matt Wood on Twitter and Instagram.
Oh my goodness. It got a little sexy on there.
Get on the yeah.
Slide into his DMs on Instagram.
Please.
Yeah. Look at his stories and comment on them, kids.
Yes. No, don't say kids.
It was just a term.
It's a loaded term for Matt's profession, so you can't do that.
Yes, we can never say that.
Please, Matt.
But that's going to do it for the Talking Games podcast for this week. Until next time, thank you, Hugh.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh, thank you, Bobby.
And thank you to all of you who are listening. Until next time, be good to one another.
What was that Southern gentleman thing?
Bobby,
Thank you, Bobby.
Hey, that's kind of